Well, hello and welcome to 2021. There are a few things I want to get done with this particular Facebook Live, and one of them, the first thing I want to do for particularly those who listen to my radio show on Saturday mornings, The Reading Circle with Mark Medley. I know some of you out there are some faithful listeners, and so I want to thank you for all of you who listened in 2020, because you know we had the break because of the pandemic. We were actually off the air from March until September when we were able to go live back into the studio. So for those of you who hung in there and you listen to the show on Saturday mornings or you rise early on Saturday mornings, I appreciate and thank you more than you can possibly know. We are kicking off the new year 2021 with some strong guests in the month of January as well as the month of February. All of those Saturdays have been taken up, with the exception of tomorrow, because tomorrow, the 2nd, I'm going to actually be the guest, and you'll have an opportunity if you'd like to call in and bring greetings or wish greetings to someone on the air. You can do that, and I tell you what, if you listen to the show tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., you can log on GOBRAVE.org. That's GoBrave.org. If you're in the northern New Jersey area, you can catch it on FM radio 88.7 FM. And you can also, if you have the TuneIn radio app, you can get on that app and catch the show as well. Matter of fact, if you have the TuneIn app, just go in and in the search bar put WPSC, and that'll bring up the link to the show as well. So again, you can log on to GoBrave.org. You can go on the TuneIn radio app and in the search bar put WPSC. Or if you're in the northern New Jersey area and you have that old FM radio, you can always reach us on 88.7 FM. So that's the first thing. I want to thank everybody for listening. And as I said, there's a calendar out for the guests that we have. I know tomorrow will be me, and anyone who wants to call into the show, you have an opportunity to bring greetings or shout somebody out. But next Saturday, I have Dr. Joy Vina Evans. She will join us, and then all the Saturdays through the end of February, there are guests who are booked. We are looking forward to having a great time on the show. All right, that's the first thing. I got all my promo stuff out the way. Secondly, we are in a new year, and one of the blog posts that I wrote and really want to share with everybody is to help us all understand that even though the last two digits of the year changed, it went from 20 to 21. At the end of the day, if our hearts and minds and mindsets don't change, we're just going to get more of the same. We will get the same thing that we got in 2020 if we go into 2021 with the same mindset, with the same hatred, with the same infighting, with the same division, whether you be Republican or Democrat or male or female or black or white or gay or straight or whatever. Whatever the ism is, if we take that ism into 2-1, 2-1 is going to be just like 2-0. The pandemic is still here. We still have to do everything that we need to do in terms of fighting that. We need to wear our masks. We need to social distance. We need to stay out of large gatherings. All those things we still need to do, even though we've gone into 2021. So it's great that the last two digits of the year change, but if some hearts and mindsets don't change, if we're still hating each other, if we're still running around here having to do all the things that we do just to stay alive, then not a whole lot's going to change, to be honest with you. I mean, it's great that, you know, we got all happy last night and, you know, we celebrated and everybody's all giddy because it's a new year and everybody's talking about 2020 going. But the truth of the matter is the same thing that was here yesterday is still here today. The same thing that was going on yesterday on Thursday, I believe yesterday's Thursday, today's Friday, correct? The same thing that was going on Thursday is going on today on Friday. The pandemic is still here. So unless some mind shifts, unless some attitudes, unless some hearts, unless some souls, unless some thinking changes, we're going to continue on getting the same. Now, the good news is those things can happen. We can begin to love each other more. You know, when you think about it, it is a shame that any group has to decry that their life matters. It's a shame. I don't care what the group is. I don't know if it's Chinese lives matter, Black lives matter, white lives matters, Italian lives matters, Asian lives matters, gay lives matters, male lives matters, female lives matter, tall people lives matter, short people life matters, fat people life matter, skinny people life matter, dark people life matter, light skinned people. It's a shame that any group has to have to constantly keep saying my life matters when the truth of the matter is life is a God-given. Life was something that was given to all of us, regardless of our skin color, regardless of our gender, regardless of our preference. Life was God-given, and yet you have groups that have to keep reminding other groups that their lives matter. That's absolutely, I just don't understand that. I don't get it. It's ridiculous to me. But the fact of the matter is we have to do that. We literally have to tell other folks that our lives matter. Me as an African-American male have to keep telling other groups that my life matters. That's ridiculous to me because, as I said, life is God-given. It's God-given. So whether I was born with dark skin, whether you were born with light skin, whether I was born with melanin in my skin, whether you were born with no melanin in your skin, whether you were born, whatever you were born, that's God-given. So if we go into 2021 with the same old looks and behaviors that we had in 2020, we're going to get the same thing. Truth of the matter is, yes, we are the divided states of America. Now, if you don't believe that, take a look at those election results. There is no way in the world that anybody that was leading anything that showed the kind of behavior that we had shown to us should have received over 70 million votes. And yet it did. And like I said, as far as the person or the man is concerned, I could care less. I could care less about Donald Trump. But the truth of the matter is the behavior over the last 4 years and his life for that matter has been deplorable. And yet you have a whole bunch of folks who follow and support that type of deplorable behavior. So as long as we have that going on, I don't care what the last two digits are in the year. Whether it's 2021, 22, 23, 24, 16, 17, 18, it doesn't matter. As long as you have that type of hatred going on, because that's at the end of the day what it boils down to. It boils down to straight up hatred. You have those out there, for whatever reason, feel like they're being disenfranchised. And I guess Donald Trump became the poster child for those who feel they are disenfranchised. Those out there who feel like minority groups, and I don't use the word minority because I don't consider myself minority anything, but those who feel that immigrants or folks who don't look like them are taking something that they think they are entitled to. Donald Trump became the poster child for that. That's why we have 70-some million people that voted for that type of behavior. And I'm going to tell you right off, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're no saviors. They're no saviors. They're not. They're not going to do anything magical. They're human like anybody else. However, at least they have a better spirit. They're not evil-spirited. They're not so caught up on themselves that they don't know other people exist. The crazy part about this whole thing is you have folks that honestly believe that Donald J. Trump cared about them, and the truth of the matter is Donald J. Trump cared about nobody but Donald J. Trump. That's just the bottom line. His supporters, many of the type of people his supporters were, he detests. And that's just, again, factual. Yet, folks have their right. You could choose who you want to choose. But for me, I would rather choose somebody who has a better spirit than what we've seen over the last 4 years. So I'm saying all that to say we're happy and giddy over the fact that the new year changed. And we honestly think because the last two digits of the year went from 20 to 21 that everything is going to be magically better. And I'm just here to say from a realistic point of view, not a pessimistic point of view, that yes, things can change. But if it changes, it's going to be up to us to change it. It is going to be up to each and every one of us here in the country and the world, for that matter, in order for the changes that we want to occur to change. It's not going to be a magic bullet. It's not going to be a magic wand. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris don't have a magic wand. They don't. That's just all to it. So let's not pretend as if in 20 days or 19 days, 80, whatever it is between now and January 20th, that whenever they take office, everything is going to be bliss. It's not. However, there are some things that we can do to start making things more blissful. As I said, we need to love each other more. If nothing else that we should have learned from these, particularly the pandemic since March, we really need to understand how we need to really appreciate others more. Me as a people person, and everybody I know is a people person, but I really do miss being around people. I don't think I've ever spent as much time in the house as I've spent these last few months. I mean, I could literally go days without going outside, not going anywhere, not seeing anybody. I cannot remember a time when that has happened for me because I'm always going. So, I mean, in terms of that, maybe having the opportunity to slow down, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing because there were some good things that came out of the pandemic too. We were forced to do things a different way. Things and ways that we just thought just could not happen. We were forced to do. I mean, who could imagine that folks would be going to church just by watching their computer or their phones or whatever? Who could imagine at school that kids would be home looking at devices and teachers would be teaching through devices? Not just something because we had moved to online courses at the college level, but we're to the point now where at the pre-K was looking at a device at a teacher. So no one prior to January, February of 2020 could have fathomed that that's the way life was going to be. But the truth of the matter, it is. Maybe there are some meetings we don't have to have because right now, if it comes time to having a parent meeting, we can have that parent meeting virtual now. If parents say, I can't get there because I have to work, we can do that in the evening. Okay, after you get off from work, or if you're on your lunch hour, you want to log on to your computer, we can have that meeting virtually. Snow days in terms of schools ought to be a thing of the past. There should be nothing now, no more ever, inclement weather days, because when the weather is that bad, guess what? We've already practiced virtual school. So on those days, whenever the weather is bad, so what that means up here in the north means we ought to be able to get out of school somewhere around the middle of June instead of in July because we have to make up snow days. So things like that, yeah, there are some good things that we learned that came out of this pandemic. Also, like I said a couple of minutes ago, we ought to be able to appreciate being around people more. We ought to appreciate being in these gatherings because now everybody's having a fit because they can't go to the bar, because they can't go to the gym, because they can't exercise in the gym, and because they can't do this. Well, I tell you what, when we finally do get those things back, we need to appreciate them a little bit more. Since now we know what it's like, because there is that old cliche, you don't miss your water until the well runs dry. Well, I tell you what, the well ran dry for us back in March. And now that that happened, guess what? We need to appreciate it even more when we get back. And you know what? And the last thing, and I'll get ready to go because I really didn't intend to get into all of this, but I'm having a good time here on this Facebook Live. We really need to understand what we need to do to sacrifice to get beyond the pandemic. No one can make me believe that they can't go without going to the club or the bar or having a party for a few months or a year, whatever we need be for us to get past this. Nobody can make me believe that. Nobody can make me believe that they're having a fit about not being able to have a party. This Thanksgiving and Christmas in my house, the maximum was 5 people, and I was fine with that. I did not have to have a cast of thousands in the house for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. Now, it's nice. It's great to have family around. It really is. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if you know that's what we need to do to get beyond the pandemic and to stay safe, then you know what? That's what we need to do. If you can't go to the bar, then so be it. You can't go to the club, so be it. You can't go hang out and have that drink, then so be it. You can't have that pool party, so be it. Do what we need to do to get beyond this thing. I saw a post on social media the day after Christmas where a 5-year-old died because he contracted the virus because they had a house full of people on Christmas Day. So it was a couple of days after Christmas, the 5-year-old coded. And he coded because, again, he caught the virus because his family had to have a house full of people on Christmas Day. See, that's the kind of nonsense I'm talking about. I'm continuously reading stories about bars and clubs and restaurants having to shut down because they refuse to follow the guidelines in terms of the number of people in the establishments. Now, don't get me wrong. I can't imagine what it's like being a business owner, a restaurant owner, anywhere that depends on customers to come and spend money. I really can't imagine. It is horrible. But at the same time, it won't make that much of a difference if folks come to your establishment and wind up getting sick and dying as well. So you know what? It is a new year. I am looking forward to 2021 just like I was looking forward to 2020. But this I do know. We carry the same old hatred. We carry the same vitriol. We carry the same old nonsense that we had into 2020, into 2021. Nothing will change. Because as they say, trying to do the same thing over and over the same old way and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Oh yeah, we go into 2020 worrying about and doing all this nonsense with the Proud Boys and Antifa and all these other groups out there that we have to be out there with violence and killing people and tearing each other down. We take that into 2021, nothing changes. It's almost like whenever you have a birthday and people ask you that, I hate to say stupid question, but you have a birthday, and let's say, for example, you're 49 and you turn 50. And I'm using that as an example. The first question somebody asks, well, how does it feel to be 50? The same way it felt when I was 49. Well, how does it feel you're in 2021? The same way it felt in 2020. Because unless hearts and minds change, unless we start loving each other sincerely, it won't matter what the two digits are at the end of the year. Come on, folks. Let's start loving each other. Come on, folks. Let's start trying to be as happy as we can. Let's cut out all the hatred. I think that would be my message. If anything, as I make this little Facebook Live post, my message would be cut out all the hatred. Stop being a hater. If you're being a hater on somebody or something, work on being less of a hater. If you want to do something different for 2021, work on being less of a hater. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I stopped that foolishness years ago. I'm sorry. For those of you who make New Year's resolutions, God bless you. You do what you want to do. But for me personally, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I'm constantly trying to get better regardless of what the year numbers are. So you know what? For those of you who make resolutions, include in your resolutions that whatever you're hating on, you're going to hate on it less. For those of you who are haters out there, you know what? Just stop hating. Stop hating on your brother. Stop hating on your sister. Stop hating on folks. That whole Make America Great Again actually turned out to be Make America Hate Again. I don't care what side of the political table you fall on. The truth of the matter is that Make America Great Again turned into Make America Hate Again. Look at all the fighting. Look at all the protests. Look at all the killing. Look at all of that for a country that's supposed to be united. United, we are not. United, we can be if we begin to cut out all the hating. For those of you who are watching, thank you so much. I see your names popping up. I see your commentary. Have a great new year. Have a blessed new year. Love you all. I don't think we can love each other enough. That's not being Pollyannish. It's not being save the worldish. It's not being corny. It's not being any of whatever you want to call it. It really is not being that. The bottom line is we have to sincerely appreciate each other more. Appreciate our differences. Historically, differences have been used to tear us apart. Differences have been used for folks to grab power. Differences have been used for a country to be built on the backs of others who are then told that they are lazy. So we got to get out of this whole notion of thinking differences are bad and taking where we're similar and celebrating where we are different. And those of us, the Na'im Akbar comment, unquote, and I don't have it in front of me, I ought to know it by heart, but we got to get comfortable with celebrating who we are. Just because we celebrate who we are does not take away from who anyone else is. The fact that I celebrate the fact, and you see me in my dashiki, and you see me in my Star of Ethiopia pendant, as well as some other African pendants on my neck, the fact that I do that does not take away from those who are Caucasian, does not take away from those of European descent. That's what we got to get away from. We must get away from the fact that when we celebrate who we are, it doesn't take anything away from anybody else. I'm not denigrating or taking away or trying to devalue you because I celebrate me. So we got to get to that point where we are comfortable with celebrating each other, but at the same time, not hating on each other. I don't have a problem with you as a European. I don't have a problem with you as a white person or a Caucasian. The problem I have is when you have a problem with me because I'm black, because I'm African American. So once we get beyond that point of having issues with each other because of skin color and height and weight and gender and sexual preference and sexual orientation, and once we get beyond all these different isms, then you'll start seeing the United States of America. Then you'll start seeing us leaving a bad year and going into a good year. So don't hang and hinge everything. I saw somebody post this morning on Twitter. They had never seen so many expletive and curse words associated with a year. In other words, everybody was F 2020, screw 2020, all kinds of curse words 2020, as if the fact that we moved from 2-0 to 2-1 was going to magically wipe everything out. So the person posted on there, I've never seen so many curse words associated with a year. Well, I tell you what, if we want to stop having curse words associated with a year, if we want to stop having horrible years, then guess what? We're going to have to start loving each other. As Dr. King says, as Martin Luther King says, we either begin to learn to work together, and I'm paraphrasing again, or we're going to perish together as fools. We learn to love one another as brothers and sisters, or we're going to perish together as fools. 2020, we began to perish together. Though, truth of the matter is, that last election in 2016, we began perishing together as fools. So maybe, as we do head into 2021, maybe if we can begin to love each other and more folks start talking kind of this stuff that I'm talking right now, because see, folks think when you talk love that that's soft. Folks think when you start talking working together and getting along with people, they think that's soft. That's another reason why Donald Trump has so many followers. There are people that honestly think he's tough, not realizing he ain't tough at all. He's not tough at all. But they think because he do all that nonsense talk that he's tough. Folks think that when you're talking love, and when you're talking working together, and when you're talking harmony, folks think that's soft. But the truth of the matter is that's not soft. That's not soft at all. So, okay, if it is soft, then we need to soften up. Then we need to lighten up, if that's what you want to say. If you think that's soft, then you know what? We need to soften up. The bottom line is, yes, 2021 can be everything we want it to be, but guess what? We're going to have to do some work. It's not going to magically drop upon us. There was something that I posted on Facebook this morning, then I'll let you go. I'm going to let myself go because like I said, I'm having a good time with this. It says, God gives everyone his or her worm, but he doesn't drop it in the nest. I'm going to say that again. God gives everyone his or her worm, but he does not drop it in the nest. And I say all that to say as I close, yes, we can have a great 2021, but in order to do that, we're going to have to do the work. Have a great day. I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. If you want to call into the show tomorrow morning, really tomorrow morning's show is about everyone. So if you want to call in tomorrow, I'll be on the air from 6 to 9 a.m. That's gobrave.org. You can shout out. You can bring greetings. The number is 973-720-2738. I'll say it again slowly if you want to jot that down. If you're up early in the morning listening and you want to shout somebody out, the number is 973-720-2738. I'll be on the air in the morning from 6 to 9 a.m. This is my 20th year on the air. I got a powerful lineup for January and February, and I'm working on my March calendar now. But I encourage you, tune into the show. If you want to know a little bit more about me, feel free to visit my website, marcamedley.com, marcamedley.com. That is the portal to everything else, all my social media sites, the radio show, and anything else that I do. But again, it is my prayer and hope for 2021 that we just all love each other more. I hope we can do away with any kind of hate groups. I hope we can demolish and do away, that they will have some serious Saul to Paul conversions in 2021. That some serious change, some heart change, some mind change, some soul change, some vision change, that we do away with all this hatred. As I said, I don't want to hear nothing else about no Proud Boys. That name is an oxymoron. The fact that that group is called the Proud Boys, that's an oxymoron. That name, that doesn't even, proud of what? Proud of hatred? Proud of what? So may groups like that, may we get rid of groups like that. all these other groups that are out there that are espousing hatred. May we get rid of those. Good to see everybody. Have a great 2021.